Hey YouTube, Dan Otto here, and today we are going over the Kanto Cup. I'm going to go over some top 10 Pokemon that not only would work for the Kanto Cup, but also works for other leagues. I'm going to go over 5 picks that aren't used that often that you could use in this cup, and I'm going to go over 3 teams that I just put together. So I'll timestamp everything in the description so you can skip ahead if you want to. For those of you who are new to the channel, if you like this, please subscribe, and those who are returning, I appreciate the views and comments. So the Kanto Cup is unranked. So your ELO is set for the rest of the week, which means that if you play at the same time, you're going to be playing potentially the same people. I faced Zionic twice in this last year because we ended around the same ELO and we played at the same time. So just keep that in mind if you're playing at the same time, you may run into the same people. So some people don't like the Kanto Cup because it's not ranked. It's a limited dex, and I don't think that's the right way to look at this. How I would look at it is 2 ways. One, you got to just keep playing for the dusk and the potential rewards. But two, this is a great time to test Pokemon that you would want to use, but just normally couldn't. Because it doesn't matter if you go 0 for 5 in matches. It helps you learn how these Pokemon are used, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. So let's start with the top 10 list. These are the top 10 Pokemon that are available in the Kanto Cup and can be used in other leagues. So if you don't have these Pokemon, I'm sure some of you have some of these, maybe all of these already. These are Pokemon that you need to invest in either immediately for the Kanto Cup or longer term. So start with Machamp. Machamp's a fairly obvious one. It's one of the best fighters in the league. It hits hard, but also has like a little more bulk than your Sirfetch'd or your Primeapes. And it's so strong across all the leagues because fighting takes out a lot of just like normal, and it has a lot of good matches against everything from water to um, not grass, but uh, like rock, ground. So it has a lot of versatility, and counter just hits so hard. I really think counter needs a nerf, or it needs another. It needs to nerf, like lower the attack, or make you do an extra one to get to your charge moves because it's just like a powerful move. So, and you can play it in all 3 leagues with champ. So, my second on this list is Venusaur. Venusaur is another one of those super hard hitting Pokemon. You need Frenzy Plant on it, but Frenzy Plant hits so hard, and it like destroys the waters. It Sludge Bomb has coverage on fairies. So for those of you who haven't used Venusaur yet, and like when you run into a Bastiodon or Stunfisk in the Great League, Venusaur can put in a lot of work there. So if you don't have a Frenzy Plant Venusaur, I would start looking at a good IV one that you can get Frenzy Plant on the next Community Day. The third one is Alolan Ninetales. So it's good in the Great League, the Ultra League, and if you're doing like a draft league. So I'm doing like a few draft leagues with Sylph where you have to like it's like a snake draft, so like 10 players each choose one and then come back. So you're like using 60 Pokemon, so it could be used in that sort of format. So people realized this round how strong it is. If you use Charm on it, it hits really hard. It's got decent bulk. If you use just Powder Snow, it's very, very spammy with the Weather Balls. You're going to get a lot of coverage on your grass and dragons here. So definitely one worth getting into. Alolan Muck is the ultimate safe swap. Having Dark, Pulse, and Sludge Wave to take out Fairies and Psychic is such a strong combo. Plus, both of those moves hit a lot of normal types, not just the normal types, but a lot of different types of Pokemon quite hard, and both are hitting hard hitting moves. So it's the ultimate safe swap that can get you out of a lot of scenarios. Gengar, for those of you, I think most of you probably know that Gengar has the Community Day Shadow Punch move, which is a great bait move, and it's a glass cannon, so it's so hits so hard, it's so spammy, but it's very, very glassy. So it has play in all the leagues. If you don't have a Shadow Punch Gengar, I would suggest getting one. The next is Gyarados. Gyarados isn't really used in the Great League, but it has a lot of play in the Ultra and especially the Master League as well. It's another one of these Community Day Aqua Tail moves and you compare it with Crunch, that it's the Dragon Breath quick move, which does a lot of damage with a water type and a dark type coverage for hard moves. And it's got that half water, half, I think it's half flying type. So, or dragon, yeah. I think flying type. So it's got sort of that mix typing, which gives it some advantages and some drawbacks, quite honestly, too. But it's a really, really strong Pokemon to get in, especially the Master League in these like draft formats. Gyarados really, really plays well because in that. So Lapras and Snorlax, I'll just lump those two together because they same sort of beast. Both weak to counters, but both very, very tanky. That even if you sort of run into a Machamp or a counter user, you can at least get off some damage on them and absorb their charge move. So same sort of thing. They play in all the leagues. Lapras obviously with that ice covers a lot of dragons, and even in grasses, it's weak to grass because it's water, but it can at least hit back with that. And Snorlax is playing all leagues, absorbing, especially in like the Master League where it absorbs all the like shadow balls from the Giratina. Like is really bumped, right? Hypno I put on this list. You don't see Hypno too much in Ultra League yet because it's still a bit low on the CP and it's tough to get um, XL candies right now. But it's again, it's one of the ultimate safe swaps. You have that coverage, a ton of moves for coverage, and it's a really strong Pokemon to have. And then Dragonite. Dragonite isn't, I put all because I have seen a couple videos about how Dragonite is strong in the Great League. It's definitely more of an Ultra League and Master League. It's one of the top Pokemon. So if you don't have, and with Dragonite, I run Draco Meteor on mine because I just want a nuke move on it, and the Dragon one is really good in the Master League. I know the arguments for Hurricane where if you run into like a Togekiss or something that resists all the Dragon type moves, you need the Hurricane for at least hitting for some damage. My argument is if you're against Togekiss, you're not getting to a Hurricane, right? Um, so that is my top 10 that you could look into getting that will be useful for the Kanto Cup and also for future leagues. So top type spice. Um, I don't even know if the first one's technically spice. Alolan, Graveler, and Golem. They don't. I put them as spice because they're not used a ton, and they really should be because they got a really good rocks and ground typing, and it's got that electric volt switch hard fast move with both. It could use rock or electric charge moves, so it has a lot of coverage. It has some good resistance. It does take like it's super effective against like water and I think fighting too. So there are some things you need to watch out for, but it hits hard and it will have a lot of play in this meta. Alon Sandslash is a let's call it a Ninetales light because same sort of concept, except instead of a fairy typing, it has a steel typing. So what does that do? It makes it extremely weak to fighting and fire, like you're double weak to both, but it adds a bunch more resistances. So I was trying to keep this all on one page. So it has 9 resistances. You can go look them all up, but it's extremely glassy too. So it's one of those that has good coverage. It has a bulldoze charge move too, so that can do some ground coverage as a charge move. So the third one is Eradicate. Um, and I'm noticing it doesn't matter, but I'm noticing right now I put that one in brackets and I didn't put the two before in brackets. So just from an OCD standpoint, that doesn't really, really bother me. So it's a dark and normal typing. And the good news with this is it's going to deal with a lot of your metas, your Hypnos, your Mews, your Marowaks, because it's got that dark type move that there aren't there's some darks in the Kanto Cup, but there's not a lot. So that's a good option to use. Golbat is one of those that when I run into it, I'm just like always frustrated by it because it double resists like fighting and grass and has a few other resistances. And the poison flying typing is just like a really awkward typing to go against. So it will have some play in this meta. And Pidgeot is my boy. I use Pidgeot all the time. I'm going to use him on my first team. It has Gust, which is like a confusion type move. So it's a 4-turn move and it hits really hard. And then you have the nuke with the Brave Bird. And it is pretty glassy. Um, but it has like a lot of play because you'll take out the grass, you'll take out the fighting, and something like um, Alon Merilak, you wall all the moves. You resist the Shadow Balls and the Bone Clubs. So it will definitely have some play in this meta, but it is somewhat classy, and the Gusts are a little tricky to use. So those are some that you can use. I also was there's like um, Dragonair, which I'm going to have in one of my teams, and I know people use Electrode as like a safe swap. I don't know if that's spice, but there's a lot just like Pokemon that aren't typically used that you will see come out in this meta. So I'm gonna try running three teams. So this first team is the one I used last year. You can actually see it on Zionic's channel. I went up against him and just lost. It was a really good battle. So Alan Ninetales, Alan Muck, and Pidgeot. So your Ninetales takes care of your grass, dragon, and does decent against others. Your Muck is your safe swap, and your Pidgeot in the back is your hard hitting, hope for the uh, Brave Bird KO sort of thing. The second team is Alan Graveler, Dragonair, Hypno. Again, this is sort of Dragonair is going to be weak to Ice. Your Graveler with Full Switch / Rock can deal with the Ice, and then Hypno as your safe swap. And the team three is like an ABB line. So Gengar, Snorlax, Dugong. Snorlax and Dugong are weak to counter users, so it's kind of draw out the counter users, come back in with Gengar to deal with the counter user, and then you have the other one in the back to potentially roam free. And Snorlax again, Snorlax and Dugong. Dugong is actually really tanky as well, and you probably do need the double legacy Ice Shard and Icy Wind, I believe, are the double legacy moves. So but I ran into it a couple times in a couple of the self tournaments I've run into, and it's way tankier than you expect it to be. So those are three teams I'm going to try. I'm going to keep looking through my list because I may try more, and I'm going to showcase them all on this channel. So if you want to see that, please subscribe, and I will see you guys tomorrow.